Hello, I'm Sharon Mathew, Clinical Supervisor of the Older Adult Program at Care and Treatment Centers in Pennsylvania. I was a part of developing this program in February of 2015, and it came as a need. We saw people in the other units who were older, and when I'm saying older, it's like 55 up to 85, and we saw that there was something else needed, something to meet them where they were medically compromised oftentimes, some cognitive issues. However, we needed to really fully assess that, and what we developed was a program that's safe, small, and secure. That's 10 beds, and we slowed the pace down so that they could participate at their speed. It turns out older adults are more medically compromised. Oftentimes they have medical conditions such as heart problems, diabetes, anxiety or depression, and an undiagnosed addiction. And it could be addiction to a chemical, alcohol still being the most prevalent one. However, pills are taking a second right after that. Older adults consume 1/3 of the prescription drugs that are in the United States and 2/3 of the over-the-counter medications. And they are not using these medications for euphoria. They are using them mostly because a doctor prescribed them, and then oftentimes they underreport how much they're drinking if they happen to be an alcoholic, and then they're given a medication such as benzodiazepine, and then they are in trouble with their health. Opiates, of course, are also highly used for this population because of chronic pain. What we see oftentimes is what gets people to treatment is that they are having a lot of falls, needing to go to acute rehab, and our referrals come basically from the adult children of the alcoholic or addict and also from the spouses. This population, what we find is needs to be treated with dignity and respect. They do not like a confrontational approach, so that is what we have geared our program to. And as I said, we have to really look at the medical piece for many, many days, oftentimes up to 2 weeks. They are still sort of coming out of the fog. Some people are coming in on wheelchairs and walkers, and I'm not talking about people who are 85. I'm talking about people who are 55 to 65. I'm seeing a lot of progression of the disease. And then also we are seeing addiction interaction, process addictions with this population. Over time, we've treated 200 people in the last 2 years. There is a high success rate for this population because once they come in and break through some of the denial, they tend to follow directions. They have a lot of pride in that. This is also a population that doesn't like their things shared basically in a large group, such as the addiction interaction process addictions, whether it be relationship addictions, food addictions, gambling, love and sex addictions. They would more readily share that in an individual session. What we have them do is homework such as family of origin trees, so we can look at the generational piece, because as we know, that does usually have a thread through the addiction, whether it be to a chemical or a process addiction. And then we also have them do timelines, relationship timelines. We just have completed some, and very intense amount of information. This is a population who has not looked at their, what I call baggage, for years and years. This is a population that kept things close to themselves. You don't sort of air your dirty laundry of the family of origin things, especially if there was chaos in the house. And eventually they have to deal with that. And we are now treating anybody up to the age of 90. We've had 2 90-year-old women who came in for alcohol dependence. And as I said, there is a high success rate for that. We cannot forget the caregivers though, because the caregivers are actually burning out. They are so worn out as to what do we do with them. We are finding them, they are falling, we're worried about them all the time, they can't sleep, they have nerve problems, and certainly problems with nutrition. So they are in need of a break, and once we do get them to treatment, which takes a little bit of a trick with our admissions people, a lot of discussions with me and the family members to assure them that their loved ones will be taken care of. And once we do get them, we find that the caregivers are relieved and finally start looking at themselves. We do a lot of family work with this population because oftentimes you'll have about 3 people attached to them if you have 3 or 4 adult children, and now even grandchildren are involved. So it takes a systematic approach. We have an interdisciplinary approach. We treat them medically, physically, spiritually, socially, and also psychologically, and also with the wellness team. The wellness team comes every day to work with them because what we know is getting them up and moving is really good for not only their bodies but also their minds. They stay approximately 6 weeks. It's a longer length of stay than most inpatients, and that is because of that slow healing process that I talked about. They are medically monitored throughout their time in treatment. And then when they are about ready to move forward, that takes a lot of work from the counseling staff and the other interdisciplinary approaches as well, because they might need a lot of surround services. That might mean people coming into the home. That might mean they're going to outpatient. It also could mean that they're going on to sober living, which I have treated several older adults in the extended care that I had facilitated as well. So once they, as I said, come in and break through some of the denial, it is a marvelous thing to watch them heal. We have a very compassionate staff. They are extremely grateful for all the help that is given to them, and take pride in the fact that this takes a lot of courage at this stage in the game to come into treatment. DBT seems to work really well with this population. We do a life worth living goals with them, because what we know is we are there to give them quality of life and, once again, purpose. One of the other major things we do with them is grief work, because it could be that through retirement, which oftentimes fuels their addictions, or a loss of a loved one, that losses and complicated grief have to be addressed. So we believe it's never too late to intervene on addiction. We believe it's never too late to get into recovery, and we believe it's never too late to have quality and purpose of life.